Too much good. Stuff out of glory. Could be too much good. He can't drive.
No, that's
How's
better.
that?
No, that's better.
There we go. There we go.
You just can't jerk off in the camera because you can see your shadow.
Fuck.
All right.
All right, I'm ready when you are.
Ready to do this? All right. Welcome to another episode of Grands McGears. We got the Rhino, Ergys Sigeta, and we're talking football today. Breaking down the NFL playoffs. So a quick show. So thanks for doing this. Thanks for being able to do this on short notice. Obviously, playoffs start next week, so there's not much time we could get everybody together and do a whole one. But first, before we start, congrats on the win in December, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It's good to have you back in there, and I have no doubts we probably will see you in the UFC soon.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, it was a good one. It was good to be back, you know.
How did it, before we get football, how did it feel? How did everything go in terms of that camp?
It was good. Everything went good. I make a joke. It didn't get real until like the first round. I took him down, and then I had him in guard, and then he started elbowing. I'm like, oh yeah, this isn't a 10-minute jits match. Like, I gotta be urgent here. He's trying to get up and elbow me in the face.
Yeah.
But no, everything went good. Everything went smooth. So
yeah, another finish like I expected. So nothing less from the Rhino.
According to him, he didn't pass out. So. And he tried to fight me in the back.
Did he?
If you want, he literally comes out and goes like, "The ref, you're lucky. The ref was on your side." I'm like, oh,
how about
excuse me?
How about you passed out, buddy?
I'm like, were you? I'm like, I was about to say, were you watching? But clearly wasn't. He was.
No, he was on fire. Yeah. Anyway, congrats on that. For those who don't know, Ergys Sigeta is a badass MMA fighter, undefeated. What are you, 6-0 now?
5-0.
5-0, and based upon being crushed by him in the gym, I have no doubt he will be in the UFC very, very, very soon. So we're glad to see you back. Let's get to the topic at hand here. Some football, playoff freaking football.
Oh.
Now, unfortunately, your piece of shit Steelers didn't make it in. But
now, can I say something? Before you bash my team?
I was gonna give you some credit, but sure, fine. Go ahead.
No, I'm happy they didn't make it. I was saying a thing. It's because I'd rather be on a 4-game win streak, go into the off season with a positive, there was stuff that obviously we got to work on.
Yeah.
But we looked good in the last bit. You know what I mean? Our running game looked good. Our defense looked better. Even Kenny Pickett was looking good. So I'm happy with what we had. I'd rather that than then go into the playoffs to get smoked by the Bills. And then, you know what I mean? I'd rather that, in my opinion.
What I gather from your season is two things. One, you have a really damn fucking good coach who can make fucking wine out of water because, you're at the start of the season, you guys look like
2-6.
Yeah, you guys look like you're competing for the number 1 draft pick at that point. And so, kudos to Tomlin for what he did. Secondly, I think you guys have a franchise quarterback. I don't think he will be ready next year. I think 2 or 3 years of development and putting the right guys around him. But kudos to you guys. You beat the Ravens in that game fair and square. I mean, Lamar wasn't playing, but at the end of the day, Pickett made some fucking plays at the end of the game.
Yes, which I like, because if he had his 2-minute because he didn't have those practices, the 2-minute practices. He was doing all this on the fly. You know what I mean? That's why I really like him. Like you said, I don't expect him to do some damage. I think in a couple of years he'll probably do some stuff, as long as they keep building the run game and they keep and they just, the way they're playing him is perfect. You know what I mean?
With how they finished the season, I again can see the North being a dominant division. Once Rapey McGee gets his shit in order and they start winning some games there, right? Because
they'll never give him credit, and I don't blame you.
No, you know what? Forget Deshaun Watson forget his football pedigree. He shouldn't be playing football. Plain and simple. If any of us made those and those aren't mistakes. If any of us made those actions, society would have held us accountable. So I don't think he should be playing football. That's plain and simple. Forget his athletic talent. It's just
I
that
mean,
is what it is.
you got to look at it as the Browns orders. You give him what, 240 million guaranteed. You better
Yeah.
get him on that field. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I need him on that field. I don't, but I get
So
what you're saying. I do
yeah.
get what you're saying.
So let's dive into the playoffs here. I wanted to kind of touch on what happened before this weekend too, because obviously I don't need to go into the details. I think most of the world knows of what happened on that Monday night game between the Bengals and the Bills, and Lamar Hamlin having that scary heart attack in the middle of the field. I was okay with them postponing the game or suspending the game at that point. I wasn't okay that they didn't play the game. I thought they should have played that on the Thursday night. It should have been flexed, and then week 18 should have been flexed a little bit. I think that the NFL fucked that up, for lack of a better term. They made the game between Cincinnati and the Ravens pretty much insignificant. They went against their own rule book. Like, forget that.
But can I, before you continue, if let's just say if Buffalo won that, were they in contention of being number 1 seed or no? Or was Kansas City clinch that? Because they're 13-3 now.
If Kansas City lost, yeah.
Right.
And then my other beef is that they basically just handed the Bengals the division, because at that point, the Ravens could have still won the North, right? The Bills had a very, that game was
they could have.
Yeah, that game was a 50-50 toss up between the Bills and the Bengals. The Bills could have easily the Bills could have
the Bengals up.
Yeah,
I know it's the first quarter.
7-3 with 5 minutes into the game, right? So the Bills could have easily won that game, and then we're looking at that week 8 or 18 game that happened between the Ravens and the Bengals actually meaning something. It didn't mean anything. So the Ravens sat their entire starting offense for that.
I was about to ask you, is Huntley the starting QB or are they starting Anthony Brown?
Well, let's dive into that. I guess we'll dive into that as the first matchup. So everything is up in the air. The Ravens are really, really tight-lipped on the status of Lamar Jackson right now. And I think
he's injured, though.
He's injured. I have a sneaking suspicion he's almost ready to go, but from what I've read and all the reports, he hasn't practiced. So I'm not holding my breath for him. The more likely option right now is Tyler Huntley will probably start the game. If I'm Cincinnati planning a game plan and strategizing, I'm planning for Lamar, but the most likely option is Tyler Huntley will start the game. If anyone other than those two quarterbacks start the game, the Ravens automatically lost, right? I'm just going to say that now. He's a diehard Ravens fan. There's no way. But
you don't believe in I mean, I know Anthony Brown threw some interceptions in that game, but he was throwing and he was taking risks.
Okay, so here's what I take away from
he looked pretty decent besides obviously he threw a couple interceptions.
Besides those mistakes, right? Here's what I saw from that game, and it wasn't positive for Cincinnati at all. Most of the positive things I saw were from the Ravens. And I went into the game with a really, really like as a huge fan of the team. I was actually really I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a shitty game. This might be a game where I have to turn off the game. And based on the first 10 minutes, it was kind of going that way. But what ended up happening is I ended up seeing Baltimore's defense, which has been playing fantastic, ranked second over the last 8 weeks ish since they acquired Raquan, right? Baltimore's defense actually took it right to Cincinnati. And if it wasn't for those 2 interceptions that put us then basically on our 30-yard line, which is tough for any defense, it doesn't matter how elite you are, to hold a team as good as Cincinnati, 30 yards back without scoring. So those 2 touchdowns that they scored, didn't really mean much, right? I look at the rest of the game, and the rest of the game, that defense shut their starters out. They were playing their starters. So the one thing I take away from that game is Cincinnati didn't look as vibrant as Buffalo did coming out of that situation. They played their starters the entire game, and
did they play everybody?
they played everybody the entire game, and they did not look sharp at all. So it actually gave me some confidence for Baltimore going in, regardless of who starts a quarterback, except for the third stringer. So if
Anthony
Tyler,
Brown.
yeah, if Tyler Huntley starts, he is
I
good
don't
for.
mind him.
I don't mind him either. I like him as a quarterback in general. I think he can start on many other teams as well.
Yeah, yeah.
If he starts, he's good for, you're going to get one touchdown out of him at least, right? J.K. Dobbins has been on a tear since he came back from knee surgery. He's the top rusher for 4 weeks in a row since he came back from knee surgery. He's good for one touchdown. So you're looking at 14 points there. And here's the thing about the Ravens that I think many people overlook is that we have the greatest kicker of all time. If you can put the ball on the 45-yard line, he's going to get 3 points.
I always choose Justin Tucker in my fantasy.
Oh yeah,
I will Mr. Reliable.
When people are like drafting like wide receivers, I draft Tucker. You know what I mean?
Do it all the time. Tucker is probably my third or fourth choice. Like Tucker is always I always draft Tucker because he's Mr. Like he'll put up 15 points. So when you need him to.
Yeah, and so looking at that, let's lowball the numbers. Say he puts up 9, right? You got the Ravens scoring, a little over 21 points, 24 points ish. That is a pretty good enough score to beat the Bengals. You keep them out of the end zone, at least, if they skin the end zone even 3 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still good. It's still good enough to squeak out the win. And I think the defense is playing good enough to do that. So I'm not going to count out. I don't think I'll ever count out the Ravens. And I think the Ravens have a stronger chance at winning this game than people give them credit for right now.
Well, they didn't look bad.
No.
Like you said, shaky in the first half. Shaky. But and even with Anthony Brown, even if they don't start, I think they will start Huntley. But even if Anthony Brown took risks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is like if Huntley has a bad game, if he's having a bad half or something, you put in Brown, he'll take risks. So that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then on the negative side for the Bengals, I think they lost their starting guard in that game against the Ravens yesterday.
Was that with the back? Was that him or was that a different game?
No, that was a different. I think that was a different game. That was the guy from LA, Mo Williams.
Yeah.
No, they lost their starting guard. He got his ankle rolled up, right? So that's 2 of their starting offensive linemen that might not be in the game. And that's why I was pissed off at this whole situation in the first place, like with the cancellation of the game. My issue is this is already a hard enough sport physically, right? Now, the Bills and the Bengals essentially got an extra rest week, in my opinion. They got an extra rest week. They got a chance to heal up some guys. And a lot of the teams that they're going to have to compete against in the AFC had to play an extra game. And in the NFL, an extra game is a big fucking deal. And, I really thought that game should have been played because, you're looking at this game that they're playing against the Ravens. They're going in with a pretty well-rested team. Even though they didn't look so hot, they're going in with a pretty well-rested team because of that extra week off. And that wear and tear, I wasn't a fan of this.
What was the reason? They didn't want to schedule it in or give a reason? Or
the NFL doesn't give a reason. The NFL does what the NFL wants.
Yeah.
There, a lot of people were rooting for the fact that maybe they pushed the playoff start back by a week and then instead of having the 2 weeks between the Super Bowl. But the NFL's, they're pretty much like a branch of the government, the USA, right?
Yeah.
They have that much power and leeway. When their TV schedule is set, their TV schedule is set. Nothing is going to change that because the amount of money that goes into changing that, they're not willing to do. And I think that's what and we look at,
why don't they just get rid of the Pro Bowl? Nobody wants to watch that anyways.
Well, I think it's a touch football game now. Or it's a
It
flag.
is.
It's a flag football game now.
It
But
is.
anyway, going back to that Ravens and Bengals, it's a tough one to call. Like if as a non-fan, I would say Bengals by 3, but as a Ravens fan, watching how poorly the Bengals performed in that second half of that game, I could see the
It's a
Ravens.
toss-up.
It's a toss-up. I could see the Ravens either squeaking out by 3, or I would even say by 6, by 2 field goals. So it's a real toss-up. And if Lamar ends up starting, that makes it even a different ball game, because Lamar will put up 2 touchdowns even on his worst game. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well, it all depends on, again, and my biggest thing with Lamar, before I say my pick, is he's getting injured now. Now
Yeah.
he's getting, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I said it before, he's got to start switching up his game a bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know, like he's and he's got a decent arm. He's got a good arm.
He's got a cannon. A good spiral, good throw. I'll be honest with you before you say it. We've done this podcast before, and I've defended Lamar to the end, right? I'm like, he's our quarterback. He's our quarterback.
Yes.
And I did going into the start of the season, the first 5 weeks. You're like, holy shit, he made a good choice not taking the contract. He was putting up crazy numbers. You thought MVP like numbers in the first 5 weeks. As the season unfolds, he's not durable. This is the second year in a row.
No.
He's done this.
His body, he's got a hard style. His body's gonna.
So this is the second year in a row, and to be honest, this is the first time as a Ravens fan I could say, you know what, I wouldn't be angry if the Ravens explored a trade option for him. Like we would have to get a quarterback in return, no doubt.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't be angry if they explored an option. I love the guy. I think he's a fantastic athlete, and he's the face of our franchise. But if this thing's about winning, we can't have a quarterback that's out 6 games of the year. 1 or 2 games. Yeah, like look at Big Ben. He'd miss 1 game and he'd be back. You know what I mean? He never was out for extended periods of time unless he had surgery.
Wanted him to be out, to be honest, but post Ben with the surgery, we're like, good God.
Yeah.
But anyway, I agree, and I agree with you. And going back, so my pick was. Here's the thing though with the Bengals. Joe's been to the Super Bowl. Joe's tasted the playoffs. I can see him just have a different gear. You know what I mean? I could see him leading even the newer guys who are there, but I can see him being like, no, guys, we tasted this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the other team that was in the Super Bowl with us last year is not in anymore. Like we're still, and they did better this year than they did last year in the regular season. Yeah. They were 10-7 last year. They're 12-4 this year.
They should be 12-5. They got bullshit.
Or 13-4, whichever one.
Whatever.
One.
Yeah.
Or 12-5 or whatever, but that's the thing. So it's like it's one of those things where it is a very, you don't know what you're gonna get. You know what I mean?
If you get the Bengals that showed up on yesterday,
I don't think they win. I agree with you. I like they could win, but you're right. It's going to be a tighter game.
Yeah, that was all their starters. That's what shocked me too. That was all their starters, and they weren't able to pull out. They weren't able to
maybe they thought it's going to be an easy win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like getting your mind, as a competitor, getting your mind ready for the playoffs with just a regular game when the other guys don't have their starters compared to, this is a playoff game and we're playing them again. And we didn't play that good this game. We got to really play this next game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I can see Joe balling out and just launching the ball up for Jamar Chase to just go get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it really, I think the first quarter will dictate that game. You'll know exactly how it's going to go based on that first quarter. So it's a toss. As a Ravens fan, it's like I said, I have to pick my team. Like if I'm objectively picking, like if I was a betting man, I'd say probably Bengals by 3 minimum. But I can also see based on the first quarter that the Ravens take that by 6 based on how they play, right?
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I'm gonna say Bengals just out of they were the Super Bowl last year, and I said it too in the beginning. It's either they're gonna be a bust or they're gonna be Super Bowl hungry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what they're looking Super Bowl hungry right now. So who knows? We'll see. But I think Bengals might squeak it out. But I won't be shocked if it's a close game, and I won't be shocked if Ravens win.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if we get a Justin Tucker 62-yarder. Everyone's screaming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Moving on to the other game in the AFC. This probably, to me, is the most interesting game, is the Jaguars and the Chargers. Okay, so fuck, when we did this podcast last time, we talked so much shit about the Jaguars, and now they have won their division. What's changed between the last time we talked about midseason to now?
I don't. You know what? I haven't really been following up on the Jaguars, to be honest. So I didn't. I haven't really been.
I've been watching. I've been following them. He's straight up as Trevor Lawrence. He's growing. He's growing into a pretty good quarterback. He's the franchise quarterback. And the other piece of that puzzle is their running back, Travis Etienne Jr. He had a Liz Frank injury last year, so he didn't play. And now he's playing. He put up over 1,000 yards season. He is really good in the backfield, and then they got that threat of Christian Kirk, who's not a big name receiver, but they had a lot of confidence signing him. They gave him quite a bit of money to come in, and I think he's performed. He's given Lawrence that threat, and they have receivers. They have the running game. It's just a matter of if they can get it going, because against the Titans, they couldn't get the running game going.
No, they couldn't.
And the Titans were not a sharp team towards the end there. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. But they got Trevor got 212 yards. I saw that the highlights of that game. He got a touchdown. But really, with the Titans, if you can stop Derrick Henry,
yeah, you win
practically. You know what I mean? Joshua Dobbs, I think, is better than Ryan Tannehill. He'll throw deeper passes, and he was.
Yeah.
But I think, like I said, with going with the Jaguars, they stopped Derrick Henry. They were doing much better there with that. But yeah, the run game wasn't really there. Trevor Lawrence, like you said, was stepping up. He was doing well in that game. But I watched going to that with the Jaguars and the Chargers. Even though the Chargers lost against the Broncos, and mind you, I think it's the reason. That's the Broncos that we should have
wanted to see. Yeah.
I wanted to see Russell throwing his deep balls, and you know what I mean, being able to play the game. So the fact that
move your Xavier can, or move that can.
Oh, sorry. So you know what I mean. So
yeah, that was the Broncos you wanted to see, but we were embarrassed of.
Yes. You know what I mean, and you can blame you can actually blame the coaching staff on.
Yeah,
Nathaniel. But with the Chargers, it was still a close game. And the thing with Justin Herbert, with both of them, they're gonna throw the long balls. Yeah. It's gonna be a fun game because they're gonna throw. You know what I mean?
I know what I mean. Yeah. Camera's frozen. Can you still hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Okay, you're back now. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. So, I mean, the problem with the Chargers is that we'll see the health of Mo Williams, right?
Yeah.
That was one of the big guys. But since they got what's his name back?
Keenan Allen?
Keenan Allen, yeah. He's been on a fucking tear.
Even last game, 102 yards for 8 receptions.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
Austin Eckler is a machine in terms of, he can catch, he can run. You're not going to get much running yards out of him compared to his previous seasons, but he's been pretty much a beast when it comes to the receiving game in terms of a backfield, receiver. He has, I think he set the record for receptions for a running. Yeah, 107 receptions. That's fucking insane.
Allen or Eckler?
Eckler. That
I think
for a running back, and then he put up 915 yards on the ground. That's, you can't ask for more with the amount of touchdowns the guy has a touchdown a game minimum, right? So
yeah.
For me, this game comes down to what kind of Jaguars show up. I think that the more talented team is definitely the Chargers. I think that Justin Herbert might rise to the challenge a lot better than Trevor Lawrence. But
Yeah.
I think the key will come down to who can run the ball better. If the Jaguars can run the ball, I can see them taking the game. But if they can't get the run game going against Chargers defense, the Chargers will squeak it out. They have the better receiving core. They have the better quarterback in terms of accuracy, and they have guys who just simply know how to score. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree with what you're saying. But I mean, you got Jaguars have a pretty decent receiving core. They got a pretty good receiving core that if they get going, like you got Evan Ingram, you got Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk had a decent game in his last game too.
And they have Zay Jones too, right? So I'm not saying that they can't win. I think it's a toss-up. The game's a toss-up.
Yes. I think it's gonna be a high-scoring game. I really do. I think it's gonna be one of the better games in the playoffs.
What do they have the spread at? Let me see. They have the spread at -1 for the Chargers. So there you go. Like, good luck betting on that game.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even a field goal, right? So, like,
no, for sure.
That's a dead even toss-up game. Like, I don't think you can really pick it. If I'm gonna pick though, I'm gonna say Chargers by 4, 5, maybe.
I'm gonna go Jaguars.
Jaguars, all right.
I'm gonna go Jaguars.
And I'm not even mad at that because the amount of momentum they have going into that playoffs.
I just want to see a Burrows Lawrence matchup again. So I'm going up. That's my reason.
I have alternative reasons that I don't care about.
Yeah. No, but either one, you're right. It's a toss-up. It's a coin flip. Who do you want to win? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Moving on, we have the Dolphins and the Bills. Now,
do we have to talk about this?
Yes, we have to talk about this.
No, I'm kidding.
Bills are favored by 11. Now, this game comes down to one thing only. Who is playing at quarterback for the Dolphins?
I was going to say that. Is Tua starting? That was going to be my number one question.
And even if he's starting, you have to ask the question,
is he healthy?
Should he be starting?
Did he clear it again? Are they starting him or did they force?
They haven't said anything yet. They're saying it's day to day, right? So it's a tough thing because we both know as combat sport athletes, like that if we both know what concussions are like.
Yep. Never had them, but I know.
I've had one. And it was brutal, and you don't just clear protocol. You don't just like come out of it like that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
So I suspect if you see the kid play, it's going to be a last minute decision and they're pretty much going to clear him on purpose. He's not going to actually be clear.
Which puts him at a lot of risk, especially that.
Yeah. And he's not playing a slouch team. He's playing probably, the 1 or number 2 team in the league right now. Right. So,
yeah.
And a top defense. So it really depends on if Tua plays, to be honest with you. Bills by 11. I don't know about 11. But like if Bridgewater ends up playing, Dolphins will put up some points. But it's really a shame how the Dolphins season.
It's not Bridgewater that was playing the last game though.
No, they had a third. They had a third stringer.
They had the third. Okay, yeah.
But like, here's the thing: the Dolphins season, like when the season started, I was actually really enthusiastic about them. And then when they came back and beat the Ravens, and that really fucked up game for the Ravens, and like that, I was like, okay, these guys are legitimately a good team. Mm-hmm. It's really rough to see how that kind of season unfolded for them in terms of their record and the momentum they've lost, right? Because at the start of the season, you're like, and they even beat the Bills, right? They beat the Bills once, right?
Did they beat the Bills?
I'm pretty sure they did. So like you were thinking, you have a legitimate
team. You're right, they did.
Yeah. You're thinking you have a legitimate team here. They might even take the division at a certain point in the season. And they kind of just fell off. They went on a huge losing streak. Tua got hurt.
Yeah. Tua got hurt first and they went on a losing streak, right?
Yeah. And it's hard to say what kind of team you're going to see show up, right? The problem is they have weapons. So if you can get a guy to throw on the ball, like Tyreek Hill can light up any defense, right? Same with Waddle. And they have a great backfield. So it really comes down to if the Dolphins defense can stop the Bills, and I don't really see that happening.
I don't. I don't at all. I don't see them stopping Buffalo. And also too, when Buffalo gets rolling,
Yeah,
they
there's
get
so many
rolling.
weapons.
You know what I mean?
Here's my only criticism of Buffalo. As good as a team as they are, they're missing one thing that can be really, really exploited that hasn't been. They don't have a real good run game. Their run game is very, very subpar for such an elite team, right? And I'm not saying that Singletary is not a good running back, and they have that
He's had his games though.
That's the problem he has in the games, right? Some games the guy will break like 60 to 100 yards, and other games you're barely getting 30, 20 out of, you know what I mean? The production's not there. So like when you talk about rough games, like the Bills will probably make it past the Bengals, or sorry, the Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
But when you have to play teams like the Bengals, possibly the Ravens, and even Kansas City, you're going to need to play action, and you're going to have to set it up with the run. And if you can't set it up with the run against those defenses, they're probably going to start eating what's his name for dinner, right? You know what I mean? They're going to just
for sure.
You get what I'm saying? Because it's a very inconsistent run game. So, I mean, I don't see Miami exploiting that, but I'm saying like when we get to the next round and the AFC Championship after that,
you could see it happening.
I can see that happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see it happening more with a team like the Chiefs and the Ravens. It could happen with the Bengals for sure.
Yeah.
But I can see them getting it away with especially it also now I'm basing it off of their last game. You know what I mean? Off the Bengals last game. You know what I mean? If they play like that, I think they could get away with it.
The Bengals don't have an elite defense. Let's be honest. They have a good defense. They don't have an elite defense. So
their offense is their big.
Yeah. So if we were to kind of break like that, that's what the AFC looks like for this playoffs. If you were to kind of break that down, there's I see the Bills making it out. I see, a toss up between the Chargers and the Jags, and then now we possibly could see the Bengals and the Ravens, right? Either one of those defenses, the Bengals or the Ravens, would pose a good threat to that play action ability of the Bills. And the other problem I can see happening is that if for some reason the Bills have to face the Chargers or the Jags, I can see that Jaguars running game opening up that Buffalo defense.
Really, eh?
Yeah, I can see Etienne is a good running back. If they can somehow get him to open up that defense, I can see them. Trevor Lawrence doesn't have a problem airing the ball. You know what I mean? So if you get the Buffalo defense to kind of check the run and have to respect it, Trevor Lawrence, unlike Lamar, is gonna throw the ball. He's not afraid of that interception. Joe Burrow too, right? So if you can get them to kind of have to respect the run game, and their linebackers and those second level guys have to kind of step up and fill that run, you're gonna have some open guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. That could be interesting.
So that's the only hole I see in that team right now is their run game. The Bills, and they answered the question, are they ready to play after that DeMar Hamlin thing pretty well.
They did.
Yeah. I'm more so than the Bengals, I say for sure.
Yeah, no, they definitely look much better than the Bengals. They started off strong in the first with the 96-yard return.
Yeah, something stupid. Yeah, a long ass return.
And then it was like I wouldn't say it was like close a bit here and there, but then once the Bills get rolling like they did in that Patriots, they don't stop.
Yeah,
they don't look back.
So
you know what I mean?
After breaking down the AFC like that, who do you got to, for an AFC Championship game and then going on to the Super Bowl? What's your final pick on that?
So for their division, if Chargers, Jaguars, they face Kansas City, winner of that game?
Yeah, if the Bengals, yes, I believe so. Wait, yeah.
And then it'd be winner of Chargers, Jaguars?
Yeah, unless the Dolphins pull it off, then the Dolphins will play the Chiefs.
Oh, okay. So, right, I get what you're saying. Honestly, I'm gonna go with uh I'm gonna go with Kansas City and Bengals in the conference again.
And who do you think?
Yeah,
And you think Kansas City to go to Super Bowl?
to be honest, I think this year I think Kansas goes to the Super Bowl this year. As much as I like Bengals, I think the way they've been playing too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The way Kansas, they look like they're on a mission. They look like, you know what I mean, from last year's upset. They do look like they're here. Like, no. You know what I mean? We're taking this, especially when people were being like, oh, they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore.
oh,
You know
they
what I
answered
mean?
that question. Like, I have never like. I'm not a
Because of
huge.
Juju. No,
I'm not a huge. I wouldn't say I'm a huge Mahomes fan. I like as a person or whatever. Like, I'm not commenting on. He's not a bad person or nothing like that. It's just
yeah,
not.
no,
He's
for
not. He's
sure.
not. It's just not like one of those players you kind of gravitate toward. But fucking hell, can he ball? He can play football.
Absolutely,
Like you,
absolutely, and he's
whenever
shown it
I,
this year.
yeah, and like here's the thing about him that I like the most out of any of the quarterbacks in the AFC is like he will take off, like he will get flushed out of the pocket, and you're like, oh shit, he's gonna make a pass, he's gonna throw the ball, and he does these like little flicks, like
Yeah,
he has this
he did that in
vision.
the last game in the
Yeah,
Raiders.
he
It's
does it almost
ridiculous.
every game, right? And
No.
he has this vision, and his receivers know where they should be, and he's able to like make those little underhand throws and those kind of things. And at the end of the day, those are difference makers. Like, Joe Burrow is really good, but he throws the ball, he launches the ball, right? You don't see him
Yep.
kind of scramble out of the pocket and make those kind of spectacular, like, what the fuck did I just see play? And
Yeah.
the other thing about Mahomes is he doesn't have an extremely talented receiving core other than Travis Kelce, but
Yeah.
he's able to distribute that ball around really, really well, and get everybody touches. And the thing that no one else is talking about is Jerick McKinnon. Like, that guy came out of nowhere and has been a touchdown machine for the Chiefs. Like, he's scoring one or two a game minimum over the last 7 games of the season, right? If you had him on fantasy or you fucking bet on him and bet 365, he made some money, right? He's been scoring touchdown. Like, somehow that guy's finding the end zone, and it's either he's closetly a great player and no one figured it out, or Mahomes just knows how to get in the ball. And I think it's could be from both ends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the only way the Chiefs lose is if their defense doesn't show up. That's pretty much it. They can put up at least 30 points a game minimum, and you have to just stop the other team from scoring 30. So I think their defense is definitely good enough to do that.
Yeah. I do too.
So if I was me personally, if I was a pick, unbiasedly, I'd love to see the Ravens there. But I would honestly, I could see the Chiefs, and I would say I could see the Chargers getting there too.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think the Bills, like I said with that run game, I just don't think the Bills' run game is good enough to beat a team in the Super Bowl.
Now you said the Jaguars. Do you think the Chargers can also expose the Bills, or?
Yeah,
You
because
said
they're so dynamic. Like
yeah.
they have a lot of different weapons, and the Chargers defense might not be as stout as some of the other teams in the AFC playoffs right now, but if you don't have to worry about the run game, then you
It's
like
easy.
it's not that bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they can, like, the Bills will put up 28 points a game, but so can the Chargers, right? Like, you got to stop Austin Eckler from scoring a touchdown. He's going to score a touchdown in the game, no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yep.
How can you stop Keelan now? Like, so I'm not saying the Chargers will get there, but I don't see the Bills finishing this one out. As good as a team as they are, they need to address the run game in the offseason. They need to bring in an elite running back, spend some money, get him in, and then I think they're
But
unstoppable.
if they're gonna bring in a lead before we go to if they're gonna bring in a lead, they gotta do some trades. Is it
Yeah.
worth it though?
Was
Like,
it
who are
worth
they gonna trade?
was it
Are
worth
they
paying Von Miller like $50 million or whatever the fuck they paid him? No.
That's fair. No, that's fair.
If you want money, you'll find money in the NFL, right? They'll cut it. They'll cut a fucking guy. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
they have all the other tools. It's like when you look at them as a whole, as a team, you're like the one glaring area is the run game. Like, look at the Bengals, for example, on especially their offense. Like the run game, even the backup, even if Mixon was to go down, that Ryan fucking guy, he can run the ball. He's a great runner. You know what I mean? When Mixon went out earlier in the season, I think he had a concussion. Ryan ran for over 100 for like 2 games and a touchdown. So like
pissed me off because Mixon was my running back.
Yeah, I had Mixon too, and I picked up the Ryan guy because nobody wanted him.
I did not. Yeah. Terrible.
So I mean, that's my only knock on the Bills. I'm not hating on the Bills. If they got there, I wouldn't be surprised. But I just, if you're good, when you're talking about like Mahomes, like the team is full of running backs. They got weapons everywhere. That's the kind of thing you got to bring to the table. And I can see that being exposed. You know what I mean?
If they go to the divisional and they go against the Chiefs and they lose again, is that something the conference championships? Because that's when they would meet, right? The conference championships.
Based on the number and seeding, yeah.
Yeah. Would they and they lose again, then it's back to the drawing board. No, then it's time to we got to do something here.
Well, they'll make it out of the first round. It's the divisional round that is the question. Right? And based on the seedings right now, you're gonna either play the Bengals or the Bengals or the Ravens, right? Based on the seeding.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you face a Ravens defense, they'll expose that run game, that weak ass run. Like we played them in week 3 or something like that, and if the Ravens didn't do what they did and gave up the lead, they would have won that game easily, right? And then the Bengals, they don't have that elite defense, but like you said, if you don't have to worry about it, then you can play the pass, right?
Yes, no, for sure.
So I mean, that's the only knock on the Bills, and I mean, maybe we will get to see this Bengals Bills game eventually, right? For when it counts for more,
maybe for sure.
Moving on to the NFC now. Okay, so let's talk about this Buccaneers and Cowboys game because
I'm ready to go for this one. I'm gonna say.
Okay,
because I'm known to be a Cowboys hater, but I was actually enjoying this. I'm like, these guys are not bad. But then they proved it to me again. They're like the Toronto Maple Leafs. When the pressure is on, they fold. When the pressure is on, they fold. Look, against the Commanders, the pressure was on. They had to win. They needed a win in order to attempt to clinch the division, right?
Seed, yeah.
Look what happened. They looked absolutely terrible. They did not look good at all. They folded. And the same thing happened last year in the playoffs with the first and long. They folded. When the pressure is on, they don't play well.
Now, is that the offense or the defense, though?
I think that's Dak. I think Dak's a big part. Look, the interceptions, especially in this game.
Yeah.
The interceptions he was throwing. So I think it's also a team effort, but I do think Dak is a big problem because this game, but even against we go back last year, the playoffs, where he made that bogus decision to do the first and long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So here's the thing though, is when I look at this game, I look at it as a game that's the Cowboys to lose. You know what I mean? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have 0 running game. Like the running game has been very trash for almost the entire year. One of the worst in the league, I believe. You know what I mean? And Tom Brady, as good as he is, he's not
been playing well.
He's not been playing well, but he's also not a deep threat. Like he had that one game with Mike Evans like 2 weeks ago where he was just launching the ball, but like you're not expecting Tom to launch the ball. I think we talked about this last time. He likes those little dink and dunk passes.
Yeah.
He's a 30-yard, those are the big plays. He gets it to you 30 yards down the field and you got to make some plays, right? The Tampa Bay has those guys to make those plays, but they don't have a run game against probably the best defense in the league, in terms of performance wise throughout the season. Like
until the pressure was on.
Yeah, but that's why I
That's
asked. Was it the defense's
yeah.
fault or was it the offense's fault?
I think no, I get what you're saying. I do think it's a team thing. Like I think it's offense, but I just think them as in general. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I
I know.
just
I know
don't
you mean.
think like that's why I compared them to the Leafs. The Leafs would do so good in the regular season,
And then
but
fuck
then
it
they
up in the
just
playoffs.
fold, and then they
Yeah.
just fold. You know what I mean? Um. So, but I look at it as no matter what, like you're right, it is their game to lose, but they're also going against a guy who's known. He's also 45 now.
Yeah.
I mean, but he's also known when he's under pressure, when he'll play good.
Yeah.
He's been here before. You know what I mean? So
He's been
that's the
here
thing.
before with worse teams too. You know what I mean? In terms
Yes.
of talent,
Yes.
because like by no means was all of his New England wins as Super Bowls like with these stellar standout names. You know what I mean? I mean, he had Randy Moss one year, but like he never had like a stacked team. You know what I mean?
I agree.
It was always like these,
Well, that was the whole thing with Belichick, right? He takes
yeah,
these guys out of nowhere,
yeah, it makes them great, right? Like Julian
you know?
Edelman's and all
Yeah.
those kind of things. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that Julian Edelman's not a great player, but he's not like, a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? So like the thing with Tom is he has potential Hall of Famers that, as long as they keep playing, like Mike Evans, if he keeps playing the way he's playing throughout another, 8 years, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Same with
Yeah.
Godwin. Same with Godwin and Julio. I mean, Julio's past his prime, but
Yeah.
yeah. So like, this is the Cowboys' game to lose. I mean, at the end of the day, they have the running game. Ezekiel Elliott's been
He's
bumping
been
in
playing
the.
well.
He's been playing well. Tony Pollard to me is the star of that team.
Yeah.
He is a fantasy steal if you had him, and then to me, he is their best player. He is their best player, and CD Lamb is a close second. But like, it depends on what Dak you see, right?
Yeah. No, the way I saw this game, and I went from going like, oh, the Cowboys actually have a chance to do well. And then I saw the Commanders game, and I'm like, nope, this just reassured me that
Yeah.
I don't think they win. I actually don't. And people might think I personally believe they do not win. And if they win, I guess they win. But if I'm not a betting man whatsoever, and I don't bet. But if I was a betting man, I would actually bet on the Buccaneers.
I
That's
can't bet
just me.
based on how the Cowboys look. Like, yes, like you can't look that bad going into the last game of the season. Like you just can't.
But the problem is they looked bad, but they looked bad with the one game that meant them the most in that regular season.
Yeah, yeah, and
You know what I mean? It was
they,
really the one game where it's like you have to win. If there's one game you have to win, this is the game.
and the defense didn't look as dominant as they did throughout the season in that game. They just didn't look sharp. Like, you can make the comparison to like maybe okay, Baltimore didn't, but Baltimore's defense looked stout. For having as little
The whole
players.
team wasn't there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
not having the whole team there, they played rather well in the second half. Once they shock off the cobweb.
No, for sure.
Like Baltimore's half-ass ragtag team looked a lot better than fucking what the Cowboys put out there in the last game of the season.
I agree. And
so
if you're a Cowboys fan, that's concerning.
Here's the thing: I've always learned you don't bet against Tom, so I'm betting with Tom on this one.
That's especially the way Cowboys playing, and I'm the same. I'm with the comeback kid.
Yeah, I'm betting on Tom, and I'm saying Tom gets it done by 3. Nothing more.
I think no. Judging by their game, I'm gonna give them 10.
10.
I'm gonna give them 10. I'm gonna give them 10. Yeah.
Here we go. This game is interesting to me. The Vikings and the Giants. Okay, so
my dark horse, the Vikings, not the Vikings, the Giants. My dark horse.
That's really how? Why?
Daniel Jones has been playing great.
Great.
All right. Great.
Great. It's a strong word. Yeah. It's too late to be using that word with Daniel Jones in the same sentence. No.
Was it your buddy?
Calvin? He hates him.
Completely, man. If he was here, he would have just.
Yeah, he would have been dying.
No, but he's playing good. he's not doing, he wasn't doing bad. Obviously, they didn't really start anyone, and the big thing, Saquon Barkley's been playing. He's been playing pretty good.
I find him a little inconsistent though. He'll have brilliant games, and then on the really tough run defenses, he won't run that well. You know what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying.
Like he'll put up
And
he put up 152 against Houston. Okay, congratulations. 110 against Jacksonville's defense. 146 against Chicago. 164 against Tennessee. You know what, he plays good defenses. Only 84 against Minnesota. 87 against Washington. 28 against Philly. Like he's not blowing those teams out of the water. You know what I mean? So like he's gonna run for 80 yards in this game, but they might not be 80 yards to have any significance to third down conversions or even scores. That's my only knock on Saquon.
I get what you're saying. I call them like dark horse because I can see them being an upset. I can see them, upsetting some teams. I can see them doing pretty decent, and they've won some good games. They've won, you know what I mean? So
here's my thing though: is their defense good enough to stop Jefferson? Because that guy can fucking play football. Like he can catch the ball. Like him and Kirk, he makes Kirk Cousins look like a fucking brilliant quarterback. And Kirk Cousins to me,
but this game isn't at 1 p.m. So we're not getting the noon. We're not getting the new nightmare.
Okay, I don't care when the game is. Here's the thing. Okay, I'm gonna base this off of the one full game I watched in Minnesota, the game where they came back against Indianapolis. And I know Indianapolis is not something to scream home about. We beat Indianapolis this year, but they were down a lot. Like they were getting fucked in the ass. Like that was a bad game. And I was just sitting doing some work. I'm like, oh, this game's over. Yeah. I don't even have to pay attention to it. Like it was on my phone, just sitting in there, and I'm doing my work. And then they score and they score. And when they need to, they put up touchdowns, right? And
Minnesota.
Minnesota. And Justin Jefferson's had 1,800 yards receiving this year.
Yeah.
The guy is putting up numbers. He can get into. Dalvin Cook had a way better year this year than he had last year. Offensively, they're really
KJ Osborne.
Yeah. And then they pick up that Hawkinson as well midseason from the Lions, who's been playing well for them. They offensively can turn it on at insane paces at any time. You know what I mean? And I can't see the Giants defense being that good to stop them. That's my only knock on.
And also too, even if you think you still got Adam Thielen, if Adam Thielen gets you a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly.
He gets you, you know what I mean? So you got a lot of, you're right. They do have a lot of options and threats that make Kirk Cousins look like the superstar.
Yeah, and
he isn't.
And to me, I see the Vikings, to me, they were a good team this year. When we talked last about them, I think they're a better team now, to be honest with you. I think that they're being overlooked going deep into this playoffs, in my opinion.
Well, when did it really change for them? Because I think as soon as once they got smoked by the Cowboys, I think they really turned it around since then, because they got they lost to the Lions. They went after the Cowboys, they went one. They were on
a long win streak, right? And
before, you know what I mean? They won pretty decent.
And a loss to the Lions is not a bad loss. The Lions are a really good team. They were to me, I was hoping they squeaked in.
They're not bad, man. They're not. Yeah. And they had a lot of close games.
And going off topic here, Jared Goff literally saved his career. Kudos to that guy.
You think?
People were writing him off. He had a fantastic season there. He turned that shit around real quick. And the last time we talked, we were thinking the Lions were playing for the number one pick and they would be picking a quarterback and Jared Goff was done. I don't think so anymore. I think Jared Goff can lead that team pretty deep into the suit. He's done it before with the Rams. And I don't think he lost anything. I just think the system with the Rams didn't suit him anymore. They kind of evolved, right? And
Yeah.
he didn't evolve with the system. And you know, now he's been given like the green light.
Resurrection in a sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been like the Lions have said, "Hey, go for it, throw the ball,
Yeah.
run this offense the way you like to run this offense." They put the tools behind him, like Jamal Williams outscored Barry Sanders. Like that's a fucking accomplishment,
Yes,
right?
big time.
So like, I mean, I know they're not in the playoffs. So I really wanted them to get in. Like I really was rooting for the Seahawks to lose that game. But once again, LA can't help us out. Fucking Los Angeles, right? Uh, right. So they're great. Like I see them making the playoffs 100% next year, no doubt about it. The Lions for sure. Anyway, back to that game. So you're taking the Giants?
I'm taking the Giants. Put me in for the Giants.
I go in the opposite direction. I say the Vikings. I think the Vikings handle this game pretty. I don't see the Giants defense.
I could see that happening. I'm rooting for the 9-17. That's what I'm doing.
Last game of the wildcard weekend is 49ers.
Is the last game?
Yeah, the 49ers and Seahawks.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, the 49ers, like
they have a chance to win it all. I was watching their game against Arizona, and they're a complete team.
Yes,
in my opinion,
it's a surprise because they're on a third string quarterback
who's doing amazing, by the way.
Yeah,
I like Purdy.
Mr. Irrelevant is extremely relevant right now.
Yeah, and he's actually playing kind of a better version of what Garoppolo was playing because he's throwing the deep balls. He's making the touchdown passes.
Yeah.
And then obviously he's giving the ball to Christian McCaffrey.
And, kudos to Christian McCaffrey. Like, I think a lot of people, including myself, wrote him off.
Yes, you want to talk about a resurrection. He was.
Yeah, after an injury. And, like, he didn't even start the season at Carolina brilliantly. You know what I mean?
No.
You were like, okay, he's back. He's producing, but it's not like overly producing. And then this trade happens, and what the fuck? He's just Mr. Everything. He's catching, he's running. The San Francisco 49ers are stacked at every position on offense.
Yes. And I think they can win. I personally believe they can win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Like, even their backup running back, Elijah Mitchell, he like gets these ridiculous runs. He'll break one for like 50. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Ayuk is a producer. Like, he finds the end zone when they need him. I don't think he's like the franchise wide receiver they need. But he's like the CeeDee Lamb. You know what I mean? He can be it. He's just not there yet. And George Kittle is Kittle. Like, he's one of the better blocking tight ends, but when you need him to, catch the ball, he makes the catch. So like,
yes.
And then defensively, one of the best defenses. You can't really argue with how they haven't had a bad defensive performance all year, in my opinion. Like, there wasn't a game. There wasn't a game where you're like, this defense is not as good as everyone makes them out to be.
Are they on a win streak right now, or?
I believe so. I believe they won the majority of their last games. I believe so.
Yeah.
So, which is why they're in this position anyway.
Yes.
Now, the only thing is that the Seahawks are a tricky team. Like, you don't know what Seahawks team you're going to get. Like, sometimes Geno comes and balls, and then other times, like, no.
If you're getting last game's Geno, I don't think it's going to be a long night for them.
Yeah. But Tyler Lockett, he's a lock for a touchdown a game now. He's just somehow finding the end zone. The only problem is DK Metcalf. Like, when he gets the ball, he's brilliant. But, like, the problem is Geno hasn't been consistently getting him the ball. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
They have a great running back in the Kenneth Walker, the third. He's not as consistent as they probably need him to, but he can definitely put up a 100-yard game against the Steelers or the 49ers for sure.
You think so?
I think so.
With the 49ers defense?
He's a very chunk running back. You know what I mean? You have to – he's not going to, like, bang you out for, like, 5 yards, 6 yards a carry. he's like gonna probably get a 2 yard gain, and then he'll break a good 15, 20 yarder, or maybe even more. He's that kind of a guy. He's not like a
Yeah.
McCaffrey. You hand the ball to McCaffrey, you're good for
He's
5.
going. Yeah.
You're getting a 5 yard gain no matter what. You know what I mean? Very
Mhm.
rare. So he's not that kind of running back. They're such a streaky team, right?
Yes.
So you can, like, I think if you're putting money on this, if you're betting, man, you're betting on San Francisco, but you just don't know what Seattle team you're gonna get. Like, I wrote them off at the start of the season. I'm like, oh no, Russell Wilson. The only thing you have is DK Metcalf. Forget it. You guys aren't winning shit. And they made it this far, right?
Yeah.
But, so you just don't know what team you're gonna get. I mean, I think you'll know in the first quarter.
Yeah. I don't see them posing a threat, to be honest. I really don't. After seeing the 49ers, I do believe they're one of the more complete teams, and I just don't see Seahawks doing much there. I really don't.
Now, do you see Brock Purdy actually leading them into a Super Bowl?
Yes,
Is he that
I
good?
I believe he's good enough to where the run game can get a stride because
Yeah.
he's getting out. It all depends on how he plays in the playoffs too. Because this is first playoff game.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Well, yeah,
You know
for
what I
sure.
mean?
No, yeah, it is his first
Yes,
playoff.
he hasn't. So it all depends on how you think. But with Christian McCaffrey and Debo Samuel's back, no?
Yeah, he's back. I think they had him on a snap count last game.
But they didn't play. They played him for like they didn't. They didn't play him for too much.
No, I think they had him on a snap count, and then once he got it, they're like, "Sit down, but bitch, we need you." Right?
Yeah. So with those two, like, to be honest, for this game, Brock Purdy can literally go for 100 yards and 1 touchdown, and he will be fine for this game. I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
know what you mean. So, like,
for
looking,
other games, like again, like if they go against the other teams, I don't see him like Brock Purdy needs to play if he goes against the Vikings or the Giants or even the Buccaneers. Like he'll
yeah.
have to,
So
you know.
looking at this division, we got the Eagles that are on the top. So they would either, if the Seahawks somehow upset, which I don't think we see happening, the Eagles are most likely gonna either play the Giants if they can win, or the Buccaneers Cowboys. How do you see them faring against either of those 3 teams?
Oof. So I think they beat the Giants and the Cowboys. I don't know about the Buccaneers though. And I saw the Eagles last game. They didn't look too. You want to talk about a team that didn't look too good? The Eagles did not look too good, and they had Jalen Hurts starting. Did they have everybody starting, or did they?
They had
They
most
didn't
of the
have
people
all.
starting. I'll let you finish before I make a little rebuttal on this. But go ahead.
And the Giants didn't have their starters. They didn't have a
Yeah.
couple of their starters start. They didn't have the QB starting.
Yeah.
And it was a close game. So judging off the last game, I don't know about the Eagles, to be honest.
Okay, so here's the thing. Jalen Hurts was injured, shoulder injury, I believe it was, right?
Was he?
Yeah, to his throwing arm. He threw that ball perfectly fine. What I noticed is like, he is normally good for, like, when I do my prop bets for that on the Eagles, he's good for 50 yards rushing. They did not do any of their normal quarterback draws, their normal play actions with him. They just sat him in the pocket, get your shoulder. Let's make sure your shoulder's okay.
Yeah.
Throw the ball. If you get the normal play calling, I don't think it was a normal play calling sheet. And I'm not trying to
Right.
defend him, but
No, that's fair.
I think they were saying, I need you to stay in the pocket. Let's not get you hurt. Let's not let you put your, because Jalen Hurts puts his shoulders down. He's a strong fucking quarterback.
Yeah.
Apparently he squats like 600-700 pounds in the weight room. He's like, he's the only quarterback I see who starts to fucking snap in a squat. Like, he's literally stacked below. I think they told him, don't lower your shoulder. We don't want you running, so you don't run
Which
into
is smart, if that's the
smart.
case, which is
So,
smart.
like, if I'm making an argument for them, I see it that you didn't see the full Jalen Hurts.
Right.
And he still was throwing. He still threw to both, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith for over 80 yards, right? So, like, his arm is there. I don't think he's unhealthy. I think it's just a matter of fact. I think we've seen this throughout the season where certain defenses kind of stifle
Yeah.
the and then when I say stifle, they're not picking them off, they're not, causing turnovers, they're just consistently causing 3 and outs, not letting those third
Yeah.
downs. So I mean,
Which makes sense.
Tam-
When we,
Tampa's defense can't do that.
right.
But the Cowboys defense can.
Depending on which Cowboys show.
Exactly. So like, if the Eagles make it out of, I mean, if the Giants make it out against the Vikings, then the Eagles would beat the Giants hands down. But if the Cowboys somehow make it through, I think the Cowboys have a good chance of upsetting the Eagles if that game does happen. And like we said, because they're such a Maple Leafs kind of team, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because those are the only matchups that would happen. If the Vikings win, which they probably would, they're going to have to play the 49ers, right?
They don't beat the 49ers. I don't think any team. I think 49ers are going to go all the way through.
Okay. So, like,
I really do.
So, in terms of the NFC Championship, you see 49ers over Eagles?
Yeah, I do see. I see 49ers Eagles. Actually, no, I don't. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go 49ers Giants. And
What
I
the
see
fuck?
49ers. Yeah, I'm going to go. Well, unless do they play the Giants in the no, they wouldn't play them in the next game if they would play
No.
the Eagles, right?
Yeah, because the Eagles get either the Giants, Seahawks, or the Cowboys.
Okay.
Any of those 3 teams they get. So,
Right.
that's they're not going to play.
So they wouldn't play the Giants in the divisional then?
No, the Giants is number 6, so they would definitely the Giants. If the Giants win, they're playing the Eagles.
So I'm going with Giants and 49ers.
What the fuck with the Giants?
That's
Get
my
the
pick.
fuck out of here with that.
The underdog team.
If the Cowboys make it out of this round, I have a good chance for them. But I picked the Eagles for this. I just
Really?
Yeah, I think consistently.
You think they beat the 49ers?
I think
Like
they have
all
more.
joking aside.
All joking aside, they have the
I don't
team.
think they're more of a. I don't think they're more of a complete team.
You don't think so?
I just no. Not with and again, maybe you're right. I didn't see what I saw with the 49ers, they were going on all cylinders. They had everything going.
Okay, but here's my argument with the 49ers, okay? They, like I was talking about Ayuk, he's not the deep guy, right? He's not going to go deep down the field and put up numbers. He doesn't get.
But I don't think they need that, though, for the 49ers.
They do in that kind of a game, yeah. The Eagles have a good defense. They have one of the better secondaries you're going to see.
So you think if they shut down the running game, it won't be like Purdy won't have that much of success?
The Eagles' defensive backs are not letting, plus 30-yard passes happen. And they don't let huge running plays. You might get a chunk 20-yard play here, but no, right? Everything is kind of done within that. When you talk about the 49ers, everything is kind of done within that 30-yard range from the line of scrimmage, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But with the Eagles, they have, you can put A.J. Brown down the field or Devontae Smith. Dallas Goedert is back now. He's a legitimate threat. Miles Sanders easily puts up 50 to 100. Boston Scott knocks in anything from the 5-yard line. They have more threats. They simply do. It's just a matter of if they show up and they put up the numbers. And on a bad day, Jalen Hurts puts up 200 yards, right? Now, if he's running and he's fully healthy and they let him loose like he has all season, he's putting up 70 yards on he's this year's Lamar Jackson. You know what I mean? So, I just see them having too much threats, and I see the 49ers, as good as they are, they're just lacking in the big play department. Like, Deebo Samuel's been out, so unless he comes back and he starts making some big plays, they haven't been. They just don't have the deep threat, and I think that would matter in a game like that with 2 complete teams like they are. That's just the way I take it. You know what I mean? So you got to go with dominance too. I think the Eagles are the consistently more dominant team in the NFC and in NFL.
Well, 49ers have been on a 9-game win streak. They've been really dominant. They haven't faced each other in the regular season.
No. And to be honest, that's the game I kind of want to see. Like, I want to see that game. So I really hope your fucking Giants don't win so that we can see that. Yeah.
No, I'm saying it as a thing. You're lucky I'm not saying Buccaneers because I'm really hoping on the comeback kid there.
So here's the thing, though.
We're
both sleeping on the Vikings. I wouldn't be surprised too if it's Eagles and Vikings.
No, you're right. You're right.
So don't sleep on the Vikings. They are a really good team. It's just
I am because it's not at 1 p.m.
Anyway, so we broke down the whole league. I mean, I think it's a consensus. We're probably looking at Chiefs, Bills, Eagles and Vikings and 49ers is true, the top 5 teams this year.
Yeah.
Bengals as well.
I do like that Chargers.
Yeah.
You were saying the Chargers the Chargers is an interesting one. It really is.
Yeah.
Because if they win, they get Kansas City, right?
Yes.
I can.
Number
you know
5,
what?
yeah.
I can. You think they can make an upset on Kansas?
I think so. I mean, the Jaguars are the hottest team coming into the playoffs.
Yes,
they simply
and they're on a win streak too.
And they're on a win streak. I at first thought it was a fluke when they beat Baltimore. I don't think it's a fluke anymore. I think that was the start of what we're seeing right now is probably a Jaguars team that will hold on to that division for as long as Tennessee can't find a quarterback. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't sleep on the Jaguars, but the Chargers are they've found a way to win this year.
Yes.
And now that all their guys are back, all their guys are back. All their guys are healthy.
And they had a shaky start too, right?
Exactly. No, they didn't have a great start, and they've come back and they put up numbers, right? Their offense, especially. So, I mean, see that here's the thing with the Chiefs is there are games where Mahomes only throws for 1 touchdown.
Yes.
So if you get one of those games, you might beat the Chiefs.
But even for sure. But even I think people going when they face the Broncos, they had a close game. Well, so you can't compare. That was the Broncos, the second last game.
Yeah,
that was the Broncos with what they should have been in the first.
Oh, the Broncos without a coach. Beginning. That was the best.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's that's what it should have been, and it showed with and even with the Chargers, you can't look at that game they lost to the Broncos. No, that should have been the Broncos from the start. I don't look at that game and be like, they're definitely not going to go anywhere, because it's not like they got blown out. It was a very competitive, close game.
Right. Well, I think the Broncos have a better team than what was let on for the year. I think.
Yes, I agree.
A lot of things went wrong. They have a great defense. Jerry Jeudy is a fantastic receiver. Hey, it's the surprise running back of the year, Latavius Murray. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
he had a great game against the Chargers.
Yeah, to me, he's this. If you want to go with a guy that revived his career, I think he can be the starting running back for the Broncos for the next 2 or 3 seasons. It's
and Jerry Jeudy, you said Jerry Jeudy is probably going to be he's going to be a lot of trouble for a lot of people because he's good too.
So they have, before you even talk about them as a legitimate team, though, they have a lot of front office things.
Yes, I agree.
But the rumor of Sean Payton, though, to me, get that done. Give up a draft pick.
You think, You think that's worth it?
It might just be because I watched the movie about the guy.
Kevin James cannot be the reason why you like Sean Payton.
What do you? He's a brilliant football coach. He's a brilliant football coach, and if you look at what he did with Drew Brees,
what he did with those middle schoolers, eh?
Yeah, those damn ragtag middle schoolers. He put together a fucking championship team in that movie. He produced a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he already has a Hall of Fame quarterback if he is the coach there. You know what I mean?
Yes. So no, I get it, because I was watching it on one of the things, and they were talking it, but that's the big thing is they'd have to get rid. Is it worth it to get rid of a draft pick or whatever they need to get rid of. Like,
Yeah,
is it worth it? You know
that's
what I mean?
that's the only thing. And I mean,
Because isn't Sean Payton, the big thing isn't Sean Payton retired, so his contract still,
with the
they gotta,
Saints, yeah,
yes, they gotta buy him out, or they gotta like,
they got to buy him
they
out
gotta,
or give up something. I don't know the
yes.
legalities behind it, but something's got to give. You can't. You're not just getting him.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So is it worth it? Especially now, well, because before the whole Hackett thing, a lot of people are like, get rid of Russ. The
Yeah.
last 2 games, Russ has been playing pretty good.
Yeah, and
You know what I mean? So
I mean the other option too that they've entertained that I read this morning was Jim Harbaugh out of
that's a
Michigan.
good one.
And I can see that being a good fit too. But if I'm straight up talking, you have Russ. He might have like 2 or 3 years left on him, if that, with the in terms of his playable career. You want somebody who can come in and make that right away. I think Jim Harbaugh is more of a long-term kind of coach to groom a team into being a
Where
championship
Sean
team.
Payton
Can take
is right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying? If I'm looking
I
at the two,
get, no, I get what you're
I
saying.
don't
I
think
get
you
what you're
get
saying.
I don't think you get a bad deal with either. But I think with what the Broncos paid for with terms of Russ, you need to produce things rather fast. And Jim Harbaugh, he turned that Michigan program over time into like I wouldn't say Michigan's never not been an elite football team, but he's been very consistently breeding these great players over
Yes, yeah,
time,
yeah, yeah, yes,
right?
yes.
Or more of so than like a USC kind of program where they just we got a bunch of fast Californian kids, let's fucking make them into football players, right? It's a different kind of thing. So I think that if you're gonna pick a coach, I think you do what you can. I mean, you gave up so much for Russ already. Like what the fuck? You clearly don't care.
Yeah, but it comes to the point where who are they going to give? They can't give up Latavius. They can't give up their running back or their wide
No,
receivers.
it'd have to
You
be
know
a
what I
draft.
mean? Like,
It'd have to be a draft pick, so they'd have to
yeah.
sacrifice it. So, well, only time will tell. Anyway, we've broken this shit down. Let's see what happens.
Yep.
I appreciate the time. It's another fun
Right
one.
on.
And I guess we're gonna talk some shit later on once all this things unfold. And
Are we doing a Super Bowl up? Are we doing a pre-Super Bowl podcast?
We'll see. We'll see if we can get everybody. I want to do a bit.
Yeah.
A group maybe on a Friday night and do that shit.
That'd be great. Yeah, yeah.
You bust each other's balls for an hour, right?
Well, let's go Steelers.
Fuck the Steelers. I could say let's go Ravens because we still are relevant.
Right? I do love enjoying the playoffs without my team being there and just watching teams do bad or do good and just being the guy that talks shit. So I do enjoy that.
I'll say this. I didn't have hope for the Ravens going into this yesterday. I have a lot of hope after watching the Bengals perform. So I can see us squeaking our way to a possible divisional AFC championship if we can get some.
I want to go that far.
Fuck you. I'll say that shit. All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. All right. That's it for us. Thanks, buddy.
Later, man.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for watching and listening to the Grinds My Gears podcast. Please head over to Spotify. Make sure you like and subscribe, as well as head over to YouTube. Hit the subscribe button and the like on the video as well. And head over to gmg-podcast.com to get all up-to-date info on the podcast, as well as other special things that we have on that website.